Okay, so morning everyone. Thank you to those who joined our introduction presentation at 10 o'clock this morning. So today the next session is a presentation from one of our previous placement students, Josh, who's going to just share with you his experience and then he'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. So I'll hand over to Josh for you.
Morning everybody, hope everyone's doing alright, being safe. I'm just going to share my screen. Do I share over the top of this, Charlotte, yeah?
Yeah, it should just pop up. I'll just mention as well, if you do have any questions for Josh, kind of like listening, if you just pop those in the Q&A chat, then we can ask those away for him at the end.
Right, so Virtual Careers Day, Day 1 design. So that's me, Josh Garbutt. Lovely tan picture there. Trust me, I don't always look that good. My personal journey at GNB or MMB. So I'm a project lead at MMB and a graduate civil engineer. So my journey at going towards GNB was actually a bit of a bumpy one, you could say. So I started at Teesside University in 2014 doing a civil engineering with disaster management, BEng it was. And to be honest, my first year and my second year, I didn't actually get the best of grades. I struggled quite a lot with university. I was more of a hands-on. I like to actually physically do things rather than, learning textbooks and things like that. That's just the type of person I am. So I think at the end of my second year, I really needed to get some more experience of what it's like to be an engineer. And I did just want a bit of a break as well. So I went to the careers fair, which is, I know it's a bit different now because obviously you're all online and listening to me rather than going out to the different companies. But I went to a careers fair in, I think that was 2015, and I saw Bentley were offering a placement. So I went up, and the person that granted me is actually my manager now, Richard. Really nice bloke. And he said, "Look, you seem like you're interested. Just pop along to the interview." So I went to the interview, and it went surprisingly well. It was a really friendly atmosphere. It was quite a lot of banter back and forth. And if you're the type of person that likes that sort of like banter atmosphere, then I would definitely recommend GNB. But I'll get on that a bit later on. So I managed to go back into university, and I managed to get first class honours in my final year. Bit of a brag, I know. And then I started back at MMB in the autumn 2018. So I got my I did my placement year, and then they give me a conditional offer, providing I do well at university. They'll then take me back on full time. It was really good actually having that sort of pressure off, because I'm sure a lot of you are thinking to yourself like, "Oh, I'm at university now. I don't know what to do. I don't know what career I want to take. I'm a bit stuck." Where I kind of had that stress off my mind, so I could just focus on my studies when I went after my placement. So GNB just allowed me to go back for the year, do my studies, focus on that fully, and then I say in the autumn 2018 I went back, and now I've been there for just about 2 years, I think. 2 years. Yeah. So that was my bit about me anyway. So yeah, as I said. So let's go on to the my most interesting project during my placement year. So this project was called the Castle Eden Revival Scheme. So it was basically an outfall revival, gravity main, and some manhole shafts. So my personal job, I'll bit of background. It was a 5 million plus scheme. I still don't know to this day how much it was valued, because it went on for all the way through my placement. It was something I was involved in all the way through. But it was up to me to design using CAD the manhole shafts. So it was 2 8-meter long shafts, and that's basically because the pipeline had to reach an outfall, which is at the bottom of the hill. So we had to design these shafts really deep, and we had to put the pipe. You might be able to see it faintly there. This yellow pipe here. We had to put the pipe through there. So this is actually work that I did, and I took some CAD skills that I learned in second year, and I also developed a bit myself outside of work, something I want to pick up on, and that's something I'd recommend you yourselves look at, maybe in your own time, or maybe if you push your university classes to look at CAD, because the way projects are going, especially now, like I'm on projects now, pretty much everything's like CAD based, BIM based, and it's a really good string of the bow if you can get some BIM knowledge behind you. But anyway, I digress. So I designed them 2 shafts, and the pitch you can see is actually one of them that got built. So I was actually allowed to go to site as well in my placement year to watch it get built. Might seem a bit boring just watching a lot of plant and trucks operating, but it does give you that real life experience, and it gives you a sense of I actually designed that. I did that, so I'm happy with it. There was also a newly constructed outfall, which you might know what an outfall is. It's basically a concrete structure at the bottom of a beck or a river. I don't actually have a picture of that. I still don't. I looked for about 2 days on my phone, couldn't find a picture of it. But anyway, as well as the design section, there was also surveying on site. So I'm sure that you have done some surveying in first year, second year maybe. But I was got to survey and check the levels to make sure that the shafts were flush with the ground, sort of thing. So you already seen that you do a lot of the modules you take at university. You do actually take into your placement year and you carry them out, which is really beneficial. But unfortunately, you can't escape structural mechanics and calculations and the math stuff as much as some of you might like mechanics and analysis, but I was not the biggest lover of mechanics and analysis, man. But as you can see, there was a couple of calculations I had to do as well. So this was a design of a crane pad. So obviously when the crane is lifting that manhole, them segments of concrete into the ground, they need to make sure the crane doesn't tip over or doesn't damage the ground. So you design these crane pads, and that allows you to safely put the crane on there. So I said I completed that one there, and it got checked off by a senior engineer. And the important thing is you do get shot in the deep end, especially at JMB, but it's not scary. It's well, you want to be doing real life project. You don't want to just be sitting and doing like basic admins or making the tea. I know you can't make the tea now, but so I'm making the tea. You're doing real life projects from week 1, and you're really getting a good experience all the way through. I said this was in 16th for the 9th, so it was only a couple of months into me placement. I'm already doing calculations that, as you say, got used on site. So moving on to a day in the life of a placement student. So the main point I'd say is that you're shadowing civil engineers and you're shadowing BIM engineers or planners or geotechnical engineers, and you see what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And if you I'm a person that loves to ask questions, and I love to know why things are happening. And if you're that type of person, that's what JMB, especially in a lot of companies, they love when people ask questions. They don't like someone who's just sat in the corner and just working away. They want you to be engaged, and the more you're engaged, they'll be engaged with you as well. So in a day, it'd be project tasks, meetings. Sometimes you're just in meetings, sometimes you're chairing them, sometimes you're doing the minutes. It's all important. It might seem like it's a bit of an onerous task, but all these skills you're picking up will help you in your final year as well, and it'll also help you in your future career. So in a month of a placement student, I'd say you've really made an impact on projects, like I said, them calculations or them designs. And you've got health and safety, you've got planning, you've got geotechnical, pretty much everything you can think of when it comes to civil engineering. You'll have a bit of it to do in your placement. That's what Bentley push on you. They want you to get an exposure to a wide range of tasks. So when you go back to university, you'll think, oh, I know that, I know how to do that. And it gives you a lot of them soft skills as well that over the year, I'd say that my biggest gains of this placement and being a placement student was my organisation skills. Like I said before, I didn't have the best of grades, I didn't have the best university experience, but work kind of moulded me into this way of thinking, this 9 to 5 way of thinking. So the organisation skills, your communication skills, whether it's by a telephone, now everything's by Teams and things, but organising meetings, meeting minutes, presentations like this. I know I'm not the best presenter in the world, but they give you the skills and the confidence to actually to do it. And there's also the biggest one, I think, is the problem solving skills, which is what you'll take into your final year when it comes to your dissertations, what you take in future exams, and then also your future career. So just a couple of points there. Yeah, like I said, value adding tasks, not just the admin. So you're not just going to be essentially doing non-value adding tasks. You're going to be doing fun stuff, exciting stuff, and stuff that you'll remember, and it'll help you in your future career. why do I think you should choose a placement at GN Bentley? So I think the best reason to choose a placement at GN Bentley is there's a contractor atmosphere with the consultancy projects. So what does that mean? So the projects are detailed. There's a lot of tasks in them. Because MMB are a design and build company, we're taking the project from Northumbrian Water with a thing, we need this doing. So we'll design it, but we also send it to site and build it as well. So you get the best of both worlds really. If you're someone who likes to design, you can design it. And if you want to go on site and you can be a site engineer, you can do the levels, you can watch it on site, and you get to see a project from inception to completion. And I think that's the best way to learn when it comes to being a civil engineer. You do have to basically have as a project lead and as a civil engineer especially, you will have a large role to play in each aspect of the project. There's a wide range of projects at GN Bentley. Like I worked on that task leading scheme there, but in my year placement, I did that large wastewater scheme. I also did a few clean water schemes. So one was on the Tyne Bridge, actually. It was renovating a pipe that was going over the Tyne Bridge, which was pretty scary, to be honest. And there was also a few different projects. So I spent a month with a couple of the MOTS staff from Newcastle, and we went out surveying different pipelines and making sure they were safe to use. And that was just a month of driving around and doing inspections and things like that. I also spent some time with a geotechnical engineer looking at ground studies and doing things like that. I also spent time with the BIM engineer and learning how to use modelling and 4D. And I think the last bullet point there, why I choose a placement and why I do it again, is it's a fun and interesting place to work. I know it might seem a bit of cliche, it's a fun place to work, but you got to think, you spend most of your life at work, so you at least want to be having fun while you're doing it, and you want to be interested, and you don't want to be going home every day and God, can't wait for this again, another day at work. But it's really fun, and the staff are picked by the seniors, and they're picked for a reason, and they're engaging staff, fun staff, and friendly staff. Like I went there, to be honest, my first week I was scared. I've never really worked before. I was scared to go to work in this big place when I was only a second year uni student, but everyone's so welcoming, and they get you into the tasks early on. They get you on the the work social events to find out what you're interested in, and the more you're interested, the more they are interested. And it's a fun place to work, and that was one of the reasons why they may have offered me a full-time role, and why I took the full-time role, because it's a fun place and it's good work. It's a wide range of projects, and yeah, it's really good. So my advice for anyone thinking about a role or career in design, this actually took me quite a while to think of this. So my advice for anyone thinking about a role in design would be getting involved in industry as soon as possible. Whether it is this placement year or just reading about engineering in general, get involved as soon as possible, because the hardest part about picking a career right now in a placement, what I found is, well, at university I'm doing geo, I'm doing hydraulics, I'm doing mechanics, I'm doing so many things, but I don't know what I want to do. So my advice would be find a passion that you have at university, whether it is I really like surveying, or I really like hydraulics, or I really like design, and that's what you should pursue. And at a place like MMB especially, you can pursue them goals. You can pursue your passions. So for me, I personally enjoyed surveying, and I really enjoyed design. So at Bentley's, I made that point pretty much as soon as I walked through the door. So when it came to tasks getting dished out, I was at the forefront of surveying. So they had me out surveying on site. They had me out on design tasks, like I said, the manhole shafts from earlier on. But I would say, as an advice, just find a passion, pursue it, and I think a company like MMB will really help you to achieve it. That's what I have to say about that one. And this is just a snapshot of basically what I'm working on now. So you're talking about your development. So we had the 2D drawings at the end of my placement, and now I've developed that and working into 3D models. So this is Lowick, which is quite north of where I live anyway. But this is actually a 4D model. So you're talking about progression and working through MMB, and I think that a place like MMB can help you develop. So that is my short but sweet presentation, and if anyone's got any questions, I'd like to hear them. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. That was really good. Just a few questions for you now.
Yeah.
Do you want to just keep that Q&A slide on?
Yeah.
If that's all right. Fab. So one question: how do you think uni prepares you for working in a placement or grad role? How did you find that kind of link?
I think university gives you the problem solving skills. So you're doing the exams, you're doing tests, you're doing assignments, and I do think it puts you in that frame of mind of how to work. But I do think you gain so much more experience from actually working and actually being in the atmosphere. Because in university, if you think about it, when you went to college, your spectrum was this big, and you went to university and it's been shortened down, and it gets shortened down at work. So I do think that working and having a placement is the best preparation for actually working. University gives you that the academia and the knowledge and the problem solving to go ahead with work. So it does prepare you, but be prepared to have a shock when you actually get to work as well.
What was the most difficult thing then about going from uni to kind of the world of work?
I think it was the adjustment, because with university the lectures are often spaced out. You're not really working full days. You've got like a Monday and a Wednesday off, and I think it was that mode of like, right, I'm in here 9 till 5, and it is quite adjustment. The first few weeks I was coming on, I was like, bloody hell, this is hard. This is hard to do. I do think that is the toughest part, adjusting the way of working and how you work day in, day out. But like we said, a placement, is like, it's golden. You're already in that mindset when you get to work, and you'll be fine.
What was this one? So why did you choose design rather than site? And could you have done either kind of that? Could you have gone either way after placement?
I chose design because I wanted to basically lead a project. Like, I'm the type of person that I want to take a project from just an idea and see it right through to the very end. And I think that I like the idea of being a leader in that sort of sense. I do enjoy being on site, as that is a given, like surveying, and but it is cold on winters on site. And I think that being a project leader, you get to look at everything, you get to control everything in a project, and you basically get to say when a project completes, like, I did that, and that's like, it's pretty cool. It's quite cool, I think. That's why I picked project leading and design over being on site.
Did you know about those sort of roles when you were at uni, or did you just kind of go out looking for a placement just expecting to find sort of anything and everything, or did you know kind of what you wanted?
I knew I wanted to go into civils and civil engineering, because obviously that's like the degree I took, and I did want to go into more of the project management side rather than technical. So when you first join like a company, you basically mold it in 2 ways. You can either be someone who's quite technical or someone who's more like a management. And I always preferred the management side of it, because there's nothing wrong with being technical, but it's just how my mind works. I prefer to be more of a project leader. But yeah, I think that, yeah, that was my answer.
Cool. So next one, you got guaranteed a job to come back. What would be kind of your advice to help secure a role?
During the placement, do you mean?
Yeah.
I think the advice I got when I was at a closing meeting for my placement, they basically offered me a contract, and they said why, and they said that I was engaging. I asked a lot of questions, fun to be around, always like having a bit of a laugh and a bit of a joke. So I think the more you're engaged and the more you get stuck in, and if you feel like you've got no work, go and ask for work. Like, it's not a bad thing to have no work, but it's bad if you're sat doing nothing and you're not asking questions. Like, I'd found myself times in the week where I think, I've got nothing to do here, so I'd go to one of the experienced leaders. Look, I need to do something, even if it is just a document register task. They see that you're keen, interested, and you want to help, and that's the biggest plus you can get, and that's how I think I secured the role. Obviously, you do your drawings and you do your work properly, but I think it's the willing to learn. They know you're not going to be a professional when you walk in. They know you're going to be a bit green. You're not going to know the ways of the working world. And to be honest, I've been in my company now 2 years and I still don't really know. Like, I still struggle. So I think just be keen, engaged, take notes, especially with I know, well, Teesside Uni especially did. You have to do reports for your placement. You have to catch up with your tutors. Just be engaged and write everything down and make notes, because when you come back and you have to basically show your work, what you've learned over the year, you'll have to prove it.
Yeah, I have to do that. It's hard. You have to keep like a bit of a log, don't you, of kind of what you're doing and how you learn all the different stuff at uni. And yeah,
it's at the time you think that it's I'll just go out with my mates instead or whatever, but no, it is vital that you do it, because, well, it's different between maybe getting a job and not getting a job.
Yeah, it's good, I think, as well, to kind of look back on how far you've come and all the things that you've learned and your progress over the year as well, if you do a placement. So next question, what advice would you give kind of on your application to secure a role at MMB? Kind of how would you make your application stand out, or kind of thing?
I think that's a good question. I'm trying to think what I did now. I think obviously university things are important, but I think it's how you are as a person. I think that's, especially with Bentley, they obviously, if you think about it, there's going to be a room of 10, 15 people, and you're all at the same point in university, so technically your academia should be pretty much the same. So I think it's how you are as a person, and I think it does come down to how you fit in and communicate. So I think on your application, make that known, make that you're a positive person, make that you're fun to be around, you're a good communicator, you don't mind working, the classic thing, you like working in teams, you don't mind working on your own, but you engage with others. And then I think if you've got any other outside of university, outside of work activities done, maybe you've captained the team, or you've done a charity event or something like these, then little bullet points, they might seem like insignificant, but they're the ones that separate you from the next person. I think for me personally, I remember hosting a charity thing with the university, and that got picked up on in my interview, and I was like, oh, I didn't even think you read that, but they read everything.
Yeah, that's good. I think, yeah, it's kind of important to all those little things that you think aren't really that significant, all the things that probably make you stand out, which is good.
Yeah.
Next question, how has it been working from home, given kind of the office was fun and collaboratively? How kind of is working at home maybe changed the culture?
It was rough to start with, to be honest. It was quite rough to start with. I think a lot of those, a lot of my friends at work, we all like bounced off each other during the working day. So when you're having a bit of a rough day or someone's not going right, you talk to someone next to you. But I think over time we've kind of learned to deal with it. Like I pretty much live on my own, to be honest. So like, it is a bit lonely at times. But I'd always say people make an effort to make calls and stuff. So at least once a month we have a Teams call, whether it's just like me and a few of the lads that I work with, or me and like our design team, and they often have like big team meetings every month as well. And it's just ways of getting you in, and you're always talking. And even though it's teams and you can't be there personally, at least you still have a bit of a laugh and a joke. So I would say it's been a bit of a difficult adjustment, but at least I've not missed having to make tea for people.
Yeah, that's true. Hang on. How often kind of are you on site in a design role?
I think obviously this year has been a bit of a weird year, so I haven't been able to go to site very often because it's COVID restrictions, and it's basically if you don't have to go, you shouldn't go. But last year, it was quite irregular actually for me personally, because when you're doing when a project starts off, you obviously need to do a lot of site investigation. So you need to look at like scans and stuff. You maybe need to do like utility surveys, make sure there's nothing in the ground. You maybe have to do like a 2D model, a laser scan, a drone survey. And with all these things, you're getting people from outside of the company to come in and help you, but they need guidance as well. So that's where you'd come in as a project leader or a civil engineer. So you'd kind of push them along and you'd tell them where to go. So I think in terms of site experience, you do actually get on site quite a bit. And if you're not getting on site and you're getting placement, you're not getting that site experience, like, you need to push for it as well. You do need to say, look, I think I could, if you've got a valid reason, don't just go because you want to drive out. But if you want the site experience, that's something that a company like Bentley they'll give you, and that's what they did for me, and that's what they've done for a lot of people who've graduates and placements since I've been there.
Cool. I think this is the last one.
Oh, no.
What kind of key skills do you think you need kind of to succeed with Bentleys or MMB? What kind of like person do you think you sort of need to be, maybe?
I think you need to be a good listener. That's a good one, because there's a lot of people in a room who are often shouting, and if everyone's shouting, no one can hear anything. So if you can listen and take notes in and write things down and be a bit of a problem solver in that way, that's a key skill. If you're a good communicator, there's ways to talk to people in Bentley, and there's certain people that you can, like, I can talk to one of my mates there in a different way I talk to a manager there. So knowing that way to communicate to people is pretty a key skill and vital. And then I'd say just like a hunger and drive to actually want to achieve and want to cross off goals. Like, I'm going for chartership now, which I'm sure everyone's heard about. Like, I'm going for that, so I'm constantly looking for the next thing to do, and because I want to be chartered in the next couple of years, and I think that's what you need. So I'd say communication, listening, and drive, actually determination to actually achieve.
Cool. What's it kind of been for you on the development scheme? Have you started that kind of since you've come back, or?
Yeah, so it was literally week one for me. Week one I came back, and I was delegated a delegated engineer, which is someone who you report to with quarterly reports, and then you get a senior supervising engineer, who's someone who basically manages that person. Straight away, you're in a training program with the ICE, and they're both compatible. ICE know about GMB and MMB, so you get given a list of objectives. If you've got a BEng or a master's, and you basically you chalk them off when you're going through your workplace, and you'll get so many in the first year at Bentley, because what Bentley, MMB offer that other companies don't is because you can go to site, you can design, you can look at the money, you can look at health and safety, environment, and that's all ICE. So within a couple of years, you're way ahead of a lot of people who may just be stuck in one sort of, oh, they just do this, because they won't get the experience of other like disciplines. But with Bentley, you can literally float around and do different things, which is really good.
Super. Right, I think that's all the questions, unless there's anything else that you want to add or want to kind of leave them with.
I'd say good luck and go for it, because the world's scary right now, so you might as well try and get a job out of it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Like it.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Super, yeah, thank you everyone for joining. So we'll let you go a little bit early now, but the next session is at lunchtime at 12 o'clock, and we'll be having a similar sort of presentation from Alice, who is a design lead. So yeah, if you're interested in that, then please do join us. But thank you very much.
If anyone wants to drop an email, if anyone's interested or any more questions as well, I'll leave my email. Do you know my email?
If you pop it in the chat, I can make an announcement, and then they can all see it.
Yeah, no worries. If anyone wants to send me an email, feel free.
That's very nice, Josh.
Yeah, well, I've got to do something, haven't I? Right, thank you everyone.